Welcome back, Raider Nation and my champions. This is Eric, and we are back live this Friday evening with another live stream. This time we're going to go over some things that have happened since last week in training camp. We're going to go over the Denzel Good retirement and who I think is going to ultimately be his replacement at right guard, plus some other news and some more saucy interviews. But not from Derek Carr. We'll get into that in a minute. I want to say hello to you guys right now. I see Sandy B in here. And let's see. I see some other people kind of filing in as we speak, of course. I'll give it a minute. I see My Life DIY in here. She just got the notification. How are you doing? We're just going to be talking about training camp news with the Raiders. This is the week where they put on the pads starting on Wednesday. We'll get into that a little bit. They're also wearing what they call the Guardian caps. Those are those little safety caps. If you're looking at any of these, all the NFL teams use these throughout portions of the training camp. It's for safety reasons. It's just a little shell to put on top of the helmet, especially those in high contact areas. Let's see. Hey, Raider. Hey, My Life. I see you in here. I want to get into this. I want to give a minute to give a shout out to you guys for coming in. I do appreciate you guys coming in here into the live stream. We are going to be going live again probably next Friday, of course. Next Thursday is going to be our first game, Hall of Fame game against Jacksonville. Honestly, I'm not predicting any starters to even be playing. We will be talking about that though on Friday, kind of giving a feel basically for the backups. If there are any kind of positional battles for the final 53-man roster spots. We'll talk about that too. But let's get right into this as we normally do. If you are new here, this is how we normally do things. We do what we call the rundown here. Now, these are the topics we're going to be talking about tonight in our live stream. And then we finish with our question and answer segment, the most important one in my opinion. Hey, Lencho, I see you in here. How you doing tonight? It is hot. River floating the river tomorrow with the kids. Go Raiders. Go Raiders. Which one? Havasu, where you at? You tell me in the chat where you're at, Lencho. Yes, Sandy B. Hit that like button if you are enjoying this. Subscribe, especially if you're watching this on a replay and you do enjoy what you're looking at. Why not subscribe so you can be here with us live at our next live stream? So these are the categories that we're going to be talking about. Of course, at the end, we're going to be doing our question and answer segment about what I covered and anything else you guys want to talk about, Raider related or even NFL related.
And I hear everyone say it, take what they give you. We're going to take what we want.
Ah, you're in Oregon. Clackamas River. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've heard it's been hot up there as well. I'm in Southern California, so yeah, you guys are getting kind of our weather. It's kind of crazy. I heard Vegas actually got some rain the other day, so that's kind of crazy weather indeed. So as far as our champion count, it's pretty much similar to it was last week. Got a few more followers on TikTok. I am not simulcasting tonight on TikTok. I'm going to save that for when we actually start getting into the games, getting a little bit more viewership there. TikTok's a little bit different. They like more shorts and things like that. And I think once we get into the games, especially the halftime reports, I think there'll be a lot more interest there on the TikTok side. But still, we're still growing, and I appreciate every single one of you coming in here as well. So let's get to our poll of the week as we normally do. Whoop, there it is. Of course, I mentioned Denzel Good retiring, and I wanted to ask you guys who you thought will be our starting right guard in week 1. Majority of you said Jermaine Illuminor. That's a good call, I would say. I'm kind of leaning towards Lester Cotton. We'll get into that in a minute from what I'm hearing so far. Some of you had Alex Leatherwood. I think he's still going to be right tackle. He is kind of sharing time right now with Brandon Parker, but I think that's his job to lose, to be honest with you. You're steamy Raiders. Hey, Yoshi, how you doing? Perfect 70 degrees in Minnesota. Oh, lovely. But you know what? You guys get to suffer in December and January, though. So it kind of goes back and forth one way or the other there. So let's get to the actual Raider news. Of course, we want to first talk about the retirement of Denzel Good. Not really expected, I don't think, especially from maybe, I don't know, maybe it was half expected because he did take that pay cut from $3 million to a little over $1 million. Here's some tweets. Of course, everybody knows he retired. A little bit of a cryptic message here. I want to say this is one of the most difficult decisions in my life. I need time to focus on things football. Unfortunately, it won't allow me to. Is he talking about off the field? Is he still talking about the knee? Because he was cleared as far as healthy and and ready to play, supposedly. Maybe he re-aggravated it. They don't really get into big details in the preseason, of course, for obvious reasons. They don't want to show their hand. They have to, once the regular season comes into place, they have to do their injury reports like everybody. They get fined. But right now, organizations don't really have to, and they're not, and I understand that. But he did follow up with this tweet right here. I still love the game. I feel I have plenty left in me, but I have to shift my time and focus on my family for the time being. Okay. Yeah, maybe. He's been in the league 5 years now. Maybe the knee injury is kind of recurring. We're not really hearing about it, but maybe there is some off the field things. It's sad. It's sad that this stifled him from coming back. I thought he was going to be good last year. He got hurt in week 1 game against Baltimore. I thought he would be our starting right guard this season, right next to Leatherwood at right tackle. That's not going to happen. I will talk about who I feel will be in a minute. But I want to talk about another guy who's retired, who was on our team last year, and that's KJ Wright, of course. More well-known, obviously, for playing with the Seattle Seahawks. Didn't have a great season, in my opinion. Kind of up and down. I would say more down than up, though, to be honest with you. 33 years old, obviously took a step back, and I said that before. We signed him in training camp while training camp was going on, so that means the other teams weren't even interested in him. He was okay. He definitely wasn't at his Pro Bowl level, and frankly, Father Time gets us all. So, best wishes to him, though. And the other one I want to talk about is this talk of Darren Waller and this extension. So we got Max done. We got Derek Carr done. We got Renfro done. We still got a little over $20 million on the cap now. And there's talk about this extension happening before the start of the season because Travis Kelce was bumped up. He was making about $7 million. Now he's making almost $12 million. He's third highest ranked as far as tight ends. As far as salary goes, Waller is 11th. He's at $6.8 million. Again, we have the money. I don't see why we're not bumping him up a few million, at least $2 or $3 million there. But I think that'll get done. Of course, there's always negotiations and that. Yes, Lencho, I was more confident with Good on the right side as well. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But as far as Darren Waller goes, I think it'll probably happen before the season starts. It's not going to be a big issue. So let's get to what we want to talk about, and that is training camp. Of course, we're into basically week 2. We started in the pads on Wednesday. That was our first day allowed to be in the pads, so this was our third day today. And then we do have some news about the team, and then comes another saucy interview I told you about, and it wasn't Derek Carr. Let's see. First thing I want to talk about is the injury list. Of course, the PUP list. I want to keep you updated on that. That has not changed since last week. The same players are on there. I am hoping, again, that has to happen by August 23rd. If they're not off the PUP list by August 23rd, they will miss the first 4 games of the regular season per the rules. So I'm hoping that these guys are here because they have some injuries, but nothing significant. And, at least the top 3 guys I know will make the 53-man roster, and they're bringing in other guys for backups to see what they got and how they want to round it out. That's what I'm hoping for. As far as the non-football injury list, Vernon Butler, the guy we got from the Buffalo Bills, he was cleared, his physical cleared, and he is off the list. So that's good news, especially since the other 2 defensive tackles are still on the PUP list. But we have some bad news here. Heard about this today. Kyler Fackrell, our outside linebacker / 3-4 type pass rusher, is on the IR. Undisclosed injury. They won't talk about it, but he is out as far as we go. He's on injured reserve. I guess he could play for somebody else later on the season, but not the Raiders. All that process, but basically he's on IR. We don't have him anymore, so we could be looking at another outside linebacker type pass rusher in free agency as well. And the last guy I want to talk about is this guy right here. I had a lot of hopes for this guy. Zamir White, 4th round pick, between the tackles, runner. This guy has not practiced a day yet, and they're not talking about what the injury is. They did sign Austin Walter from San Francisco, a backup running back. I'm not sure what's going on here. I don't know if this guy's going to end up going on a PUP at some point or IR. I'm hoping he gets back because we really need him alongside Josh Jacobs for that good 1-2 punch, especially between the tackles. Now, as far as interviews go, last week we talked about Derek Carr and kind of that little spicy interview he had last week. Not really talking to the media this week, but we did get some good sound bites from the head coach, Josh McDaniels, including some on the field. If you have not heard, we'll go over that as well. I'll let you listen to that as well. So let's get into what he said this week. Now, they're asking about, okay, you got the pads on, what's going on? This was from yesterday, and he's saying, yeah, the pads are on now. The guys are kind of acclimating to that. They're a little slower. It's still hot out and all that. Not only that, there's a little bit of regression, it seems like, the way he was talking as far as the team making mistakes. And he gets to that. He'll get to that in a minute. I'll talk about that. But a lot of things, and a bunch of little kind of minor, stupid kind of errors and mistakes, like false starts, fumbling the ball. There were a couple turnovers in camp he talked about. They need to clean that up, and he's feeling that it's a good thing we're at this point of the game because we don't have like an actual game that we have to prep for. We can go back and work on those fundamentals. He did talk about Josh Jacobs. Remember, Josh Jacobs didn't really do much. He did show up to to the mandatory minicamp, didn't show up to OTAs. He did show up to the minicamp, but he did not really participate. Undisclosed injury. He was rehabbing, and now he's out there getting a lot of snaps and what I say catching up to the new system, which is a good thing. I was hoping he wouldn't hold out. There was kind of words about that. Sandy B, where do they practice? They have a practice facility, their own practice facility in Henderson that's right outside of Las Vegas. I actually was there. I took pictures of it last year when I did the tour of the stadium, and but I didn't get to go inside there. They wouldn't let me in there, but I took it on the outside. So they have their own training facility in Henderson, which is a suburb outside of Vegas proper. And he talked about learning not to lose, and this ties into making these mistakes, getting back to the foundational efforts of football. And this, to me, this is very important because you've been a Raider fan for any significant amount of time. You've seen that a lot of times the Raiders shoot themselves in the foot. Penalties, turnovers, they got to clean that up. He basically said if you want to win, you have to first learn not to lose. And that's what he was talking about. And the next one, he was really, some good news, right? He was really praising 2 guys in particular that I kind of caught my ear on. That was Denzel Perryman and Lester Cotton, who I think will probably be the starting right guard with us right next to Leatherwood on that right side of the ball. Now let's get with Denzel Perryman. He said he's kind of very vocal. He's a veteran and he's a leader. He lets you know things. And you know what? We need that kind of a guy, especially on this team. Perryman arguably one of the best inside linebackers in the game. He had an outstanding season last year. Had some injury issues before that with the Chargers, and then with Carolina, we got him for a song. That was an absolute steal of a trade, to be honest with you. They're not talking. I haven't heard anything about extending him. This is going to be his last season. He's probably going to go elsewhere, to be honest with you. But he's a good leader, solid veteran at this point. And frankly, I like that guy. I liked him when he first started out with the Chargers, the way he played. Good hard hitter inside, good against the run. And then Lester Cotton, of course, a lot of praise. We heard this last week. We're hearing it again. It seems like they're seeing a different type of Lester Cotton here, and this feels good because we don't have Denzel Good anymore. So this goes right along in line with somebody, with somebody taking that spot, next man up. And again, we have not heard of any free agent signings on either side of the ball. So it's sounding like we're going to go with what we have. And then the last one, if you haven't heard, they were doing some drills. I'm going to show it to you in a second. They were doing actual scramble drills on the offense. I'm going to let you watch the videos. I'm going to give you my take on that right now. Let me pull that up for you guys. So this was on Twitter. Two of the beat reporters here, Cassie Soto and then Q. He goes by your boy Q. They both took it. I'll show you this one first. I'll make sure you guys can see this. I'll show you this angle first, and I'll show you the other one. It's a little bit further back. You can kind of see what's going on. So here we go. So that's Josh McDaniels giving a tongue lashing to Malcolm Kuntz. Basically, they're doing a scramble drill where they're basically allowing the edge guys to come up, and this is more for Carr and the receivers, to be honest with you. So he was telling Carr, scramble right, and the guy came up and he said, okay, now scramble left. Now with Kuntz, I mean, they wear red jerseys for a reason. He can come up, but he has to kind of back off. He actually made contact with him. He should have ran like by him off to the side, to the left side, and then let him scramble out. This was all part of the drill, of course, red jersey, but I think more so he messed up the drill, and that's where he got pissed off. So this is a little wider angle view of what happened. So I'll let you watch this. Come right, left, see? See? Yeah, so basically he was supposed to run by him, he kind of ran into him. He got right in his route. So just, I wouldn't say a rookie mistake, he's in his second year, but, this is the kind of things that are going to piss off Josh McDaniels. He's trying to run this offense. Of course, he's the offensive guy. We got Patrick Graham for the defense. He ran the offense in New England. And, frankly, he's gonna get pissed off, and I understand that. So I want to know what you guys think about that, that little video. Of course, he's wearing the blue jersey. He's our starting quarterback. He should not be touched. They should be going out of their way to get out of his way anyway, but he also screwed up the drill. So this is what we have so far. As far as training camp updates, again, not a whole lot going on right now. Let's see. Hey, how you guys doing? Not a whole lot going on right now, to be honest with you. Just some updates I wanted to give you guys. Remember, here's some important dates. You can see these on the bottom. Next Thursday is our Hall of Fame game, basically a scrimmage game. Let's be honest. I don't anticipate any starters at all being in this game. You're going to see a lot of the backups. We can see what Mullins has, what Stidham has, against their scrubs. But it'll be good to, like I said, this is good to evaluate in real football time. These fringe guys, are they going to make the team or not? But as far as our starting lineup, unless we get major injuries, this is going to be more for the backups. Then the next game is against Minnesota. Then we have our cut down 5 players. This is where I think basically where we're going to have to make some room for those pup guys. That's my assumption. But the 23rd is the cut down. And we have 2 more games, one at Miami, which to me, I've said this before, this one could be kind of problematic because August 20th in Miami, it's going to be hot and humid as hell. If you guys have never been to Florida, August is like, maybe a degree or two colder than hell, literally there. And it's so humid. And, you're going to be prone for pulling hamstrings, pulling muscles, cramps, all this other thing. I'm not really anticipating a lot of starters here. Frankly, probably maybe a couple series here, and that's going to be it, to be honest with you. This is where a lot of the backups need to shine. This is where I want to see guys like Demarcus Robinson, who's new on the team, come shine, grab one of those wide receiver spots, because I know he has the speed, and he's not a small dude. I think he's like 6'2", 200 pounds, and I remember him with Kansas City. He's pesky, you're anticipating Hill and Kelsey, and all of a sudden this guy's wide open. I can envision that happening for us with our setup with Devontae, Renfro, and Waller. So, and then guys like Zamir White. Zamir White needs to get back in here. Zamir White needs to be playing in these games. Let's see what he's got. Same thing with the offensive line. I think some of them are going to get, I don't think Colton's really going to play. You're going to see Thayer Munford. You're going to see Brandon Parker, probably some Leatherwood work. But a lot of the starters, Derek Carr's not going to play. Maybe here, maybe a series or two here. That's right here with New England. So let's see what you guys have to say. So what do you guys think about McDaniel's tongue lashing? What do you guys think about training camp so far? Are you guys a little concerned about Denzel Good now retiring? And it is, to me, it's a little concerning because the offensive line was kind of in flux anyway, aside from Colton Miller, and now we got another guy that was generally penciled in by most people to be at that right guard spot, and he's not there anymore. So I want to know what you guys think. Let's see. Lynch is going to the Raiders 49ers New Year's game. That's going to be very interesting. I'll tell you. And I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you because we're going to do a game review. And if you can get on here, I'll be on at halftime of that game as well for about 15 minutes going over what I think. I would love for you to come on here as well. Let me know what you think as well, Lyncho. Let's see. Expensive, but my wife and I are going, yeah. Didn't know Marilyn was a Raider fan. Well, she is. Gotta iron things out. Is it a little wrinkled? Is it a little wrinkled? A little bit. Actually, if you've been in the stadium or if you've been on the tour, I went on the tour last season. I have some videos on that if you want to take a look at that. They wouldn't let me do actual video, but I took a boatload of pictures, and one of which was they have Marilyn Monroe in a Raiderette outfit on one of the stairwells. I don't remember which one, but you can take a look at that. They also have like Elvis there, so they've kind of mixed in Raider history. So they're like, of course, John Madden, Tom Flores, all that, Al Davis, of course, murals. But they've married that with the Vegas, all the Vegas people there, Oh, no, the Raiders do. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's wrinkled, maybe a little bit there, but yeah, I just want to hear what you guys have to say. Of course, things are still slow. Things are just starting to pick up now. We have a lot of flux. Like I said, here are the dates that I want to talk about. Next Friday, I'll be back on live to talk. I'm going to give my opinion on this. It's not going to be a full game review, to be honest with you. I'm going to put maybe good, bad, and ugly because that team's not going to be the team that's going to be on week one. Let's be honest. So let's look at who I think excelled and maybe helped themselves earn a spot, or those who went the other way and maybe they're going to be out of work in a few weeks. So I think that's where we need to focus on as well, especially with our backup situation right now. Let's see what else we got here. So how you guys doing? I see 15 people in here. I only see 2 people in the chat. So I want to see you guys in the chat. That's my whole point. I want to get your Q&A. I want to hear what you guys have to say, right? It's not. This isn't class where you get a lecture. I'm going to give you my point of view, but I want to hear what you have to say as well. So, let's see. Sandy B says Raiders need to work things out. That's why they call it practice. Learn from it. Yeah, but here it is again. I'm not too concerned about the errors early on. You have to remember Vegas is hot. They train. They're in pretty good condition as it is. This is the NFL. They want full speed right now. They got the pads on. And this is a new system. Let's be honest. This is a new system, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So, guys missing assignments. Hang on. He was talking about Lester Cotton and accountability. So he was talking about him jumping off sides one play, and he just went and ran a lap, and he came back, and went right back in there. So there is a level of accountability here. Honestly, I kind of questioned before, to be honest with you. I know Gruden yelled and screamed, but the product didn't show it. Let's be honest. We made a lot of stupid errors, and then even after when he was gone, there were still more errors. The offensive line was an absolute mess from center to the right side of the ball. Most of that was a problem. And then even John Simpson, as left guard, would have problems at times. I'm encouraged by this new regime, to be honest with you. I'm encouraged by the kind of players they brought in. I like Chandler Jones as an upgrade. I'm a little concerned about Zamir White. What's going on with him? A lot of people say, well, he had 2 knee injuries and blah, blah, blah. No, those knee injuries happened in high school, okay? He played 3 years at Georgia, so let's not get into all that. It's not like he had a knee injury last year, so I don't really know what's going on there. The only people that really know what's going on are people inside the organization. They're not going to tell anybody, and for good reason, and I totally understand that. So, hey, Noel Jenkins, how you doing? Hello, Raider Nation. I see you. Hello, how you doing? And like I said, if you are enjoying this, heaven forbid if you're watching this on a replay, because I do a cleaned up version, and I put it out as a video of the main topic, which will be training camp. But I know a lot of people like here. But number one, you're getting all my ums and uhs because this is just one take. I am just talking here. And number two, you're not getting the interaction. You're not getting the interaction with me. You're not getting the interaction with the chat. Why not subscribe? So that way, hit the bell notification, set it to all. That way you'll be here. You'll be here for the next live, which will be next Friday. And we're going to talk about my views on that Hall of Fame game, what I liked, what I didn't like. Honestly, I'm not expecting a whole lot as far as play calling goes. They really don't open the playbook up in preseason. I understand that. So it's going to be more on an individual type of effort. Players, I think, did a good job or did not do a good job, and then we can go over that. Kasi Raider, how you doing? I see you out there. It says, wow, what's good? Raider champion, thought I'd stop by and say hello. Well, hello to you. I'm glad you did stop by. We're just talking about training camp. They got the pads on. Josh McDaniels screaming at Malcolm Kuntz for messing up his offensive drill and touching Derek Carr. That's a no-no with the red jersey. You don't touch the quarterbacks. And he messed up his drill. We're talking about Denzel Good. We're talking about Zamir White. KJ Wright retired. I knew he wasn't going to come back, but I wanted to cover that since he played, he was a Raider last year. So good luck to him, of course. Obviously, he didn't have that Pro Bowl skill. He's 33 years old. It happens. I understand that. Best of luck to him, though. Let's see. Noel Jenkins says, thanks, champion, for putting out such great and different content. Well, thank you. Thank you for coming here. Now, the more you guys come, the more you guys comment and like and subscribe, the more content I'll put out. That's the way it is. Number two, I didn't put out a lot of content recently until training camp because, frankly, there wasn't really much to talk about. Let's be honest here. We had the OTAs. I did a little bit on that. And then in May, we had the mandatory mini camp. We talked about that. And then there was nothing really, honestly, not much to talk about for about 6 weeks there. We didn't sign Ndamukong Suh. We didn't sign Darrell Williams. No big free agents. There was nothing really to talk about till we got to training camp. So I'll be likely be doing weeklies, and then during the season, I like to do a game review or preview on Fridays. We'll be here live, and I'll give you my takes, my keys to the game, what I think we need to do to win the game on both sides of the ball. And then I go on at halftime. I give you my point of view of what I saw that first half, and then usually on Monday night we'll do the game review live. Of course, if it's Monday Night Football, we'll do it on Tuesday night, of course. And then also before the season starts, probably after this last cut down, maybe Friday of the Labor Day weekend, I'll have to look at it. We'll do our schedule 2.0. Now, we've already done our schedule 1.0. If you're not familiar with that, myself and you guys, we went through game by game of the regular season, made our predictions. Now we're going to go back into that, and if we want to make any changes, we can do that. And then at the bye week, we'll do another show on that and see how we've done, and then at the end of the season. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to go through that. So let's see. Glad to be here talking Raiders, saying to be Dominique, how you doing? I see you in here as well. Good to see you in here as well. Afkasi Raider says, saw the Kuntz yelling. You see the latest Raiders depth chart. Some interesting looks, especially our listed starting O-line. Last one I saw was Cotton starting at right guard. Honestly, right now, I would say other than Colton Miller, I would say for the most part, those other four spots are probably in flux right now. I would probably lean towards Leatherwood at right tackle. We'll see what happens with Andre James and Parnham. Some people are saying James. There are a few that are saying maybe Parnham will take that spot or maybe even grab the guard spot. I'm not so sure about that. Lester Cotton's been looking good so far in camp, but remember, we can't totally go on that. Remember last year, if you were here, a lot of good praise was happening around Tanner Muse, if you remember that, and he got cut. So we have to pump the brakes slightly on that. But I do think he'll probably, especially with Good being out, I think he's the front runner. Illuminor is also interesting because he did play with the Patriots like a couple teams ago. So that's a possibility there as well. Noel Jenkins says, no worries, bro. Just your setup's cool. You guys are cool. You guys being here is cool. If nobody's here, there's no reason for me to do this. So it's reciprocal, and I do appreciate every single one of you that are here. Kasi says, Cotton and Parker are listed as the starters on right. Leatherwood's listed as a backup. Parnham is backup center behind James. If you're not new to the channel, you know my feelings on Brandon Parker. I scratched my head when they signed him. My only thought was that he's a backup swing guy in case Colton Miller goes down, because he did play left side in college. He looked terrible last year. He looked awful last year. Honestly, I think he looked worse than Leatherwood last year, and they kept him at right tackle. It was a mess. Some of the games, especially the Bears game, it was sickening how terrible he was. I think he's a little too big. He's big. I think he's a little too big, and he's a little too slow. And I think Leatherwood's going to get the job. Yeah, I saw Cotton in there. Yes, James. I think that could kind of go either way. They might stick with James because he's a veteran. We'll see. Again, it's all going to be how quickly these guys pick things up. I don't think anything's been decided in training camp right now. They want to see these guys play these, what I call scrimmage games, these preseason games, to be honest with you. Except for Colton Miller, of course. Lencho says, hearing great things about Trayvon Merrick. Yeah, Merrick, I've heard that. I heard about that last week as well. I briefly mentioned that. Secondary's going good as far as he goes. Not hearing a whole lot about the corner position, which is interesting, especially with Mullen on the PUP list. Another cause for concern. And then Fackrell, I talked about that. They just put him on IR today. He's basically an outside linebacker, outside pass rushing, like 3-4 type linebacker. So that's another pass rusher we're going to lose. There's going to be a lot of weight on Chandler Jones and Max Crosby's shoulders as far as getting to that quarterback, because I'm not so sure about the secondary, to be honest with you. We got Rock Ya-Sin, and maybe if Mullen comes back, and even then, like I said, I did game reviews where sometimes he's looked great and sometimes he looked like a rookie. He just got burnt left and right. So it's a little concerning with me. There were some decent veteran corners out there that we could have picked up. Kind of similar situation to the offensive line. I think we're really putting a lot of our chips in on Leatherwood right now. I have no confidence in Brandon Parker. He can prove me wrong. That would be wonderful. I've seen enough. He played there last season even. So this is like his fifth year, fifth or sixth season. I've seen enough of what I can see with Brandon Parker. I still don't understand why he's there, other than he's a big guy who can also play on the left side. So we're all in on Alex Leatherwood right now. And if he falters, that means Carr's going to get hit. And if Carr gets hit, that means the offense is going to sputter, and that means we're going to lose games. That's the bottom line. So I'm surprised we haven't brought in, like I said, Bobby Massey, Mike Remmers, a right tackle kind of guy. Like, not saying they're great, but a veteran presence, a backup guy in case this falls through. Let's see. It's super early for the O-line. Dominique says, exactly, champ. It makes me even worried about the guys. They look so good right now, Tanner Muse. Yeah, that's right. I mean, I even did a video on Tanner Muse after, which game was it? I don't even remember. Seattle, was it? I think it was the Seattle game. He looked really good in the preseason last year. And then they cut him, hoping for Leatherwood as well. Then I really want Leatherwood there. He should do well. Remember, Colton Miller did not look good in his first season as a rookie at left tackle. Let's remember that. So, and plus, he played Alabama, big conference. I think he can handle it. I think he's going to be solid there. I don't think he'll ever forget that Bears game. Yeah, and you don't have to forget that Bears game. What are my thoughts on that Bears game either? Because I have a video of the game review. I would say parental discretion is advised, though, because I think I dropped a few F-bombs during that. So just to let you know, that was a complete. I think that was the last game Gruden coached. I think he knew he was on the way out. I think he kind of mailed it in, and the team looked like they mailed it in. And that offensive line was horrific. And just I even did a video. I did the game preview, and my thumbnail was like a castle wall with like Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack kind of coming through like bears, like invading the castle. It's like, hey, these guys can rush the quarterback. I hope we can cover it. If I know that, why aren't they knowing that? That's what kind of pissed me off about Tom Cable last year. No changes. Offensive line was looking terrible, especially the right side. It was an absolute joke. But if you want some comedic value, go archive my Bears review last season. You'll enjoy that. Noel says, Merrick's beast. Pro Bowl year coming up. I agree. I think that was a great pick. I think we moved up to get him in time. I think what they say, Dallas was in the market maybe for him, I believe. And one other team, I don't remember, but they moved up and got him. That was a good move by the old regime. Afkasi says, how do you feel about Leatherwood with him listed as of right now as the backup? I just talked about that. Latest offensive defensive chart started doing the rounds a few hours ago. Again, these are all speculation. If you look, the Raiders do not put an official depth chart out on their site until, I believe, after the last game. They didn't last year. They do during the regular. They don't have it right now. They have the roster. They don't have the depth chart. So if you go to like maybe NFL.com or ESPN or PFF, they do. But that's all speculation. That we don't really know for sure what's going to happen in there. So, but yeah, if Parker's there, I hope if he's there and he proves me wrong, I will get on here and apologize. I will publicly apologize if he goes out there and is a beast. If they start him and he is great, I will publicly apologize. But I haven't seen any evidence that would happen if he's put in that position again. To be honest with you. Let's see. Fractal out. Clee will show up. Clee Farrell. They pulled him from training camp with an undisclosed injury. I did not mention that. Hang on. Got wet my whistle. All this talking. Yeah, Clee Farrell. They pulled him out. They expect him. The way they talked, it was relatively minor. I'm thinking. I think. How do I feel about Clee Farrell? I think he's a decent player. Definitely not 4th overall pick. Everybody knows that. The old regime, they were comparing him to Nick Bosa. Totally smoking crack on that. Everybody knew it. Even the guy at the draft was I think they did in Nashville. That guy. I even showed that on one of my game reviews. That meme that everyone ran. Even he knew it. That doesn't mean he sucks. I think he's a decent defensive end. He's pretty good against the run, sealing off the edge, to be honest with you. I think he would thrive even better in like a 3-4 type of defense. I'm interested to see what Patrick Graham's going to do with him because he's a lot bigger. So I think he could handle that as far as an edge guy on 3-4. But yeah, Dominique says we have to stop expecting anything from Clee. We have to stop expecting him to act like a 4th overall pick. I would agree with that. But as a decent player, I think we're there. Let's see, Raider. For those of you in chat, Sandy says, I'm a Raider fan, but live outside of Chicago. Well, yeah, she likes the Bears. Let's be honest. And then the guy I thought we should have drafted before, Tevin Jenkins, I just found out about that. He has an undisclosed injury sidelining him. They don't think it's going to be significant, though. Remember, he had that neck problem last year. That guy is, Tevin Jenkins, if you look at an old school Raider, that's the guy. The guy, kind of like that Trevor Penning guy I was talking about in the draft before we traded for Devontae Adams. I was thinking I would love to get that guy in the first round. Same kind of attitude, grit, hitting people at the whistle, a little after the whistle, driving them out of bounds a few yards. That's Tevin Jenkins. So, but he's had his injuries last couple seasons. So your best ability is availability. So good luck with him though. Not set in cement. Yeah, not set in cement. Sandy, we're not talking about the St. Valentine's Day massacre. Not setting anybody in cement. Let's see. Lencho, Carl, he does Raider films, I think. I don't know what that means, but you talking about Clee Farrell? Noel Jenkins says, if Bram can unlock some potential in Clee, it's worth it. He already has some potential. I think he's, like I said, I think he's better suited for a 3-4, to be honest with you. Not to say he can't excel. He does very good. He's a 2-down defensive end, right? First and second down, he's going to set the edge for you. They're going to have to come inside, at least on his side of the ball. They can't really run against him, to be honest with you. But as far as rushing the passer, it's not there. A lot of people say, well, he got pressures and he's like a step late. And Sanjeet, another Raider content creator, had a nice little video. He was, it is training camp. I don't put a whole lot of stock into what they're doing as far as drills. Take it with a grain of salt, but it was kind of indicative. He showed a film where they had Max Crosby, and it was a hiking drill. So they're set in their stance, right? 3-point stance, and Clee and Crosby's there, and they pull the ball on the stick, and Crosby's already up and got a step out before Clee's basically out of his stance. And it just kind of shows you, that's not his game. The old regime screwed up, picked him so high. He was probably maybe a late first rounder, maybe early second. Doesn't mean he sucks, but he's not fourth overall pick. That's not his fault. That's not his game. And again, I agree with you. I think Patrick Graham can unlock more out of him. I think he's done pretty decent. Not fourth overall good, but pretty decent. I absolutely love Patrick Graham as the defensive coordinator. I was initially saying if they wanted to keep Gus around, I'm okay with it when everything was kind of going down. He did make some improvements, but there were some startling issues. Red zone and not blitzing, not really making the proper adjustments for that, especially in the second half of the season. So Patrick Graham, proof the pudding's in the eating. Look at the Giants. I've said this before. Their offense was absolutely terrible last season, and that defense kept them in games. That Giants defense schooled us. We came off a bye week. We got embarrassed. That was an embarrassing loss to the Giants. How did we lose that game? And then they played very well against the Chiefs as well, a high-powered offense. So I like that signing. I think that's great. Let Josh run the offense like he normally does, and let's see what happens. And then we got two big weapons on both sides, on each side of the ball, Chandler and Devontae. So we're looking pretty right now. We still have some issues, but honestly, I feel more confident we did with last year, and that's why I said I predicted 10 wins last year. We got 10 wins. I'm predicting 11 this year, and maybe a division. I'm not so sure. We're going to see how. I think we're getting closer to the Chiefs, especially with Tyreek Hill gone, but they did bolster that defense, especially that front four. I talked about that. If you want to look at a previous video, I did reviews of each of our divisional rivals. I am worried about that front four against us. It's kind of a strength against a weakness, to be honest with you. So I think they've fallen back a little bit, but how far? It's going to be a dogfight, that division, obviously. Let's see. Let's show the guy at the draft that was shocked. Yeah, that's the meme when they picked Cleve Farrell. There's a meme of the guy going like this, and he's got the Raider hat on. He's like, oh, man. And they had like Cleve Farrell's name underneath on the Chiron. It's hilarious. Oh, Carl Cockerman, Raider Films. Yeah. I like Raider Films. He's a good content creator. He goes through some things. Now, I don't agree with everything he says, but he's on point with a lot of what he says, though. So that's a good channel as well. I would advise you to go to Raider Films as well. If others, obviously Lyncher knows them, but if the others have not seen Raider Films, I would go there and see his as well. Noel says, Clee will never play up to expectations. If we picked him as the second, this is a good pick. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not fair to Clee Farrell. It's not fair to him. This is indicative of the previous regime. And again, I made videos breaking down statistically my problems with John Gruden in his first 3 years. I didn't do one for last year. Why bother? He's already fired. But if you want to look at that, I did one. I did kind of a summary, and it kind of shows my theory of what happened and why we were so bad and what was going on. So you can take a look at that. It's under Grading Gruden. It's a playlist on my channel. If you go to my channel, I have the link in the description. If you go to my channel, go to playlist, Grading Gruden. You can take a look at those. Went through everything: the additions, the draft, the cuts, the trades. Talked about Antonio Brown. Remember that? Of course you remember that. But it's very interesting. Noel says, how close do you think we are to the Broncos? Carl is the best. Well, yeah, that's a statement. How close do I think we are to the Broncos? I think the Broncos are the fourth best team in the division. I'm not completely convinced with Russell Wilson. Bradley Chubb does not look that great. He did not look that great last season. Okay, they spent a first round pick on that guy. I mean, I'm not going to say he's Cleve Farrell, but I mean, without Von Miller in his prime there, he has not looked good since that. And Von Miller's gone, obviously. Went to the Rams last year, got traded. and now he's with the Cowgirls. So the defense, they have good secondary, but the middle, they got some free agency, especially on the defensive line. We talked about that. I'm not convinced of it. I still think we can run the ball down their throat. That's why I want Zamir White. Whatever's going on, he needs to get back in the pads. He needs to be playing these games so we can do that 1-2 punch. I want him to come in the second half and wear down these weak teams like the Chargers, like the Broncos. They are weak up the middle, and that's how you beat these guys. Not going to say Russell Wilson sucks, but he did take a step back last season. Whatever people want to say, he was an MVP at one time. He's not there now. So how far has he regressed? That's the question. He still had, people like, he had this or that. He still had Tyler Lockett. He still had DK Metcalf there. And if you look at his accuracy ratings last year, they were below. So is it a 1 year anomaly, or is he regressing? And they give up 3 first round picks for that guy? Denver was desperate. They were so desperate. All those draft picks, those quarterbacks that John Elway picked, great quarterback, one of the best I've ever seen play. Terrible GM, shitty GM. Can't even pick a quarterback in the draft. He's the quarterback. So that tells you, it doesn't mean how good you are playing. It doesn't translate to a front office. So I think they were desperate. I think they saw the other 3 teams getting better. They didn't want to be left in the dust. So I think they'll be better. They're still going to be a tough out. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're going to finish 4th place in the division. Let's see. That just says, if Josh McDaniels wins the Super Bowl, will they say it was Gruden's team? I know what you're getting at. You're talking about, I'm not even going to talk about his name. He pisses me off. His little butt buddy. The C word. It starts with the C. The coach that took over for Gruden the first time we went to the Super Bowl, and he basically threw the game. That idiot, yeah. I don't even want to. Got to restrain myself. I got to pull Derek Carr. I got to restrain myself a little bit when I think about that. Bill C. That's all. I'm not going to say his whole name. And I'm not the only one who thinks that. Go talk to Tim Brown and Jerry Rice about it. So, but yeah, they were saying, well, he got there because of Gruden's team, and then they said Gruden won the Super Bowl because of Tony Dungy's team in Tampa, and to an extent. But remember, we got 2 big hitters this year after they were gone. So, I don't think it really equates, to be honest with you. I mean, you could argue Max Crosby and Hunter Renfrow, yeah, but Carr was selected by Reggie before Gruden got there. Seriously, I mean, if Leatherwood plays at all at a Pro Bowl level, maybe they might want to try to argue that. But what did this regime really do? Right, Merrig? I'm just saying. Come on. Okay, I want to talk about Bill. Ooh. No. I have a story about that Super Bowl. If you remind me someday, I want to talk about it right now. I'm already getting pissed off. And I generally like to go about an hour and then cut these off. We're almost at an hour, so take your final questions. But if you want to remind me another time, we can talk about that. I have an actual story about the Super Bowl and what I was doing, and it was a friggin' mess. 2003. So let's see. Noel says Gruden was power tripping. He made it for lost time because of Al trading him. I agree about the Donkeys. It's going to be the D. We can sweep. Go Raiders. Yeah. A lot of people have some conspiracy theories about Gruden wanting to come here just to sabotage the franchise because Al Davis. Now remember, the last game that Gruden coached in his first reign was the Tuck Rule game. And maybe Al, I don't know what happened behind closed doors. Maybe, Al liked to, get upset and, But they did get like 2 firsts, 2 seconds, and what, 10 million or 15 million? Something crazy for Gruden. Tampa traded all that. I mean, it's like an offer you can't refuse, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of people that think that Gruden came back just to sabotage, and that's why he had, I'm not even going to say his name, the guy after him. I'm not going to say his name. And he helped sabotage. But again, that's a conspiracy theory. We can talk about that for another time. Again, if you are enjoying this, you're enjoying my rants, you're enjoying my information, hit the like button. That way more people will see it. I'm having a hard time, obviously, with the algorithm with YouTube. I would highly appreciate it. Absolutely free. Just click that little thumbs up button. And if you are new here, why not subscribe and get all this content, and then hit that bell notification, select it to all. That way you'll be immediately notified of live streams, especially if you're catching this on the replay. Why not be here live with us, asking questions, having good stories about Bill C and all that. All right, Yoshi, great show. Have a terrific evening. Good for you guys. Thank you, Yoshi. Noel, Lencho. I'm just going to scroll up. Sandy B, of course. Dominique. My wrenches. Afkasi was here as well. Thank you very much. A lot of people here were here as well, not talking. Why not get into the discussion as well? I do appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. And as always, go Raiders.
Ask you something. With all the distractions that you have off the field, how are you able to keep focused on winning football games as you do and do throughout the years?
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.